woman over 30 or you know one, this video is for you. Some stupid genius came up with the term hitting the wall. And I want to let every last one of you that are watching this video know, including the person who came up with the term, honey, that is a term to psychologically separate women from their divine power and their self-esteem. So what I want you to do right now is remember that you have the vessel that can create worlds. If there's anything about a wall that's separating you from whatever it is that you want to do, I want you to energetically kick that motherfucker down.
A few moments later.
I'm campaigning for the right to die. I always thought that I was going to decide myself the day and the moment when I was going to die. I've been wanting to do that for the past 10 years. And if you tell me to choose between being old or dying, I prefer dying.
What's going on, guys? This is Eddie, the African Red Pew. Welcome to the video. In today's video, I'm talking about how life is for a woman when she's post-war. What I mean by that, when she's at a place which is even worse than being at the war. What do I mean by post-war? So the war is practically a place or a period of time when a woman is no longer as desirable as she used to be when she was at her best, when she was in her prime, when she was at her peak, when she no longer has those options she used to have. It means she has hit the wall. Now, after the war, is what is called post-war. Post-war is that place when you can not even attract the guys are not into. That's called post-war. So that's what I'm talking about right now. Check out this lady who's at a place which is called post-war. This lady is at a place where she no longer has all the options, she's no longer in control of her option, and I think she's narcissistic. This is just my opinion. I'm not a clinical psychologist or a therapist, so that's my opinion. But she admitted it. I think she was diagnosed and it was discovered that she's narcissistic, and she admitted herself. So, this type of a woman is the woman who used to be a star. I bet when she was younger, she was very beautiful and she used to be in control of her life. But when she lost her looks, these are the results.
Around death, I mean, we're mortal, aren't we? And being mortal is part of our condition. And what is an option is the suffering before dying. I'm campaigning for the right to die. I always thought that I was going to decide myself the day and the moment when I was going to die. I've been wanting to do that for the past 10 years. And if you tell me to choose between being old or dying, I prefer dying.
Listen, man, a lot of people who end up like that are those people who are or were narcissistic. And usually a narcissist is in control of their life. But that usually catches up with them when they grow older. When they grow older, they lose control of their life. But they don't want to stomach the fact that they've lost control of their life and decisions. So if they don't want to stomach that, that's why you end up with senile old people. Well, like you're taking care, if you're somebody who takes care of the old, you're taking care of that old person, but that person is an asshole to you because you're senile. So this lady here, I think she's a narcissist and she can't stomach not having control of her life. So the fact that she can't stomach not having control of her life, she wants to delete herself. Yeah, at least she's reasonable about it.
The more you advance in age, the more problems you have. I mean, you reach a certain point where you have to make a choice. And usually the choice people make is either, if they have money, they take somebody, full-time to look after them, stay at home. If they don't have money, they have the option of living with their children. The last option is a nursing home. And the nursing homes are so depressing. I can't digest anything anymore. I can hardly eat anything. The only alcohol I can still drink is vodka. I can't drink wine because it's too sour, and champagne because of the bubbles. And okay, you'll tell me that's not important. Lots of people are starving and they'd be happy just to have bread and water. So it sounds like a spoiled bitch, you know, when I'm talking to you like that. And I don't want to sound like that because I didn't always live like that, and I didn't always have access to luxury and to things I fought for myself. When I was younger, I had to fight. I had to fight for survival until I met my husband, who was a great provider.
So check out, this lady is somebody who's hit the wall. Now she's post the wall. When she hit the wall, she still had options. Better males, blue-pilled guys who are into her, despite her being older and less attractive than she used to be when she was in her 20s. So she settled for a better male. That better male ended up marrying this lady. But this lady settled. She only settled for the security. She wasn't into the guy she settled for. In the long run, she ended up resenting the guy and ended up resenting herself for the choices she made. Because as we were talking, or at the moment when this interview was released, she was still married to the guy. But she settled for him. The fact that she settled for him, that thing always catches up with somebody. If you settle, you end up presenting your partner in the long run. So that's what happened with the lady here.
I don't think anybody's particularly upset about my decision either. I mean, my children are grown-up men. They have their lives. I'm not in their lives anymore. Well, what about the grandchildren? That's an interesting question. I mean, I find them very cute, and I love to look at them and everything. But I'm not really interested in looking after them like I looked after my own children. I don't feel responsible for them. And I'm in ecstasy when I look at them and I say, oh wow, they're beautiful and whatever. Okay, that's fine, but that's about it. There's no relationship with my husband. Children are gone. I don't have a job. I don't have anything. What is my life? I think it's impossible to fall in love again at this age. I can't be in love with an old man. I mean, you know. I fell in love in my fitness coach. That was 4 years ago. But that was a totally unilateral thing because the guy is the age of my sons. But I'm not really interested in his falling in love with me or not, although I do realize that not being a sexual object anymore does make a huge difference. I'm somebody who has been brought up in France, in Paris, where seduction is a big part of our personality. And so if I lose my power of seduction, I'm a bit at a loss. I had it all. I had the life of being a seductress, of sometimes being the most beautiful woman in a room, of knowing it, of feeling it. I used to walk in the streets and people would look at me, you know, and say nice things to me. Now today it's gone because you're not allowed to say anything nice anymore. You're denounced by you know, all these Puritans who say, me too.
You see, this lady realized when it was too late that she had lost her value. She realized when it was too late that she settled for a better male, blue-pilled husband. So what ended up happening was she ended up presenting him, of which is the case when you settle for something. Even if they haven't done anything wrong to you, you end up resenting them because you don't love them like they do you. She knows that she can't fall in love, or there is nobody out there who can love her at her age, because she's older, and old comes with you losing your looks. She lost her looks. Now she's at a place where she knows that she's got no control about it. That guy, that gym trainer who fell for her, the guy who fell in love with her, he's not an alpha, he's beta. The type of guy she wants can't fall in love with her. It's only guys who've got limited options with women, or those guys who don't realize their worth, are the ones who fall for people like that. So she knew it. No wonder she couldn't reciprocate the feelings that guy had for her. That's why she's at a place she's at right now.
I am narcissistic. Who isn't? I saw a neurologist, I saw a shrink, I saw people who discussed with me for a long time and who said, well, she knows exactly what she's doing, she knows why she's doing it, and it's okay. I'm not being coerced into doing anything by anybody else.
Why don't you do it yourself?
Well, because it's violent. It's violent. If, well.
So what she was talking about here, about it being violent, she's been contemplating deleting or offing herself, but she's been weighing her options. At least she's got the heart to think about her loved ones. The fact that she's got the heart to think about her loved ones is why she was doubting or dilly-dallying or weighing her options of how to do it. That's what she's talking about here.
Yes, of course, I can throw myself out of the window, I can throw myself under a train. It causes a lot of problems for all the other people who have to find me, who have to pick me up. Do I want to make a train stop because I've thrown myself on the rails? Do I want to jump out of the window and offer the sight of my brains, my gut all spilling out? I would die at home. I could die at home. I am privileged because I can do that, which many other people can't. But supposing I do that, what happens? The police comes, they want to have an autopsy done. It's a terrible burden on my children. They call my children, look, your mother. It's much easier if they know I'm going on my own terms at my own moment when I want to.
So ladies, more especially you younger ones, you who's below 30, this should be a wake-up call. If you don't want to utilize your best years by finding the best guy you can ever find, because when you are in your best years, that's the time and period when you will find somebody you're into. If you don't utilize that time, there are chances that you might end up like her, or people like her. It gets to be harder at the top. Of course, when you reach 30 and above, you can find a guy who will be into you, but you might not be into them. That means you're settling. And when you're settling for somebody, in the long run, it catches up with you. Just like it did with this lady over here. It caught up with her. She was not in love with her husband. She only married him for the money, for security. The alpha facts, beta backs. So she married that guy who was a beta for the backs, of which the backs is security. But in the long run, she ended up being depressed like that. And the story ends up worse because she finally succeeded offing herself by going to, is it Switzerland? I don't know if it's Switzerland or Sweden, of which this country allows somebody to off or delete herself. That side, it's legal. She finally managed to delete herself because she wasn't happy. She wasn't happy because she wasn't the center of attention. She was not attractive. She was not as attractive as she used to be when she was younger. So, and the fact that she was narcissistic, it got to her that she wasn't in control of her life. So she had to end it. That's sad. So when you're at your best, pick the best guy you can get, make the right decision, and then when you die, or even if something happens, you'll be satisfied with the life options you made. So this lady, I can say she was an alpha widow. The whole reason she's like that is because in her head there's that one guy in her past who got away, of which she wished she settled with a guy like that. You remember Titanic? Titanic, that movie is based on a true story. When they were filming that movie, I think that lady Rose, she was in her 90s. But despite being in her 90s, she was still in love with the guy she met when she was in her early 20s. That's what being an alpha widow means. An alpha widow doesn't necessarily have to mean that you lost a partner or something in terms of death, but it's that partner or that boyfriend or that someone or that man, that one who got away. I think my next video will be about an alpha widow. This is where I'm gonna end my video. Comment on the topic, hit like if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you haven't. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.